And we're back with Demby's teaching tips. And we're here with Professor Gloria Kitchen. And she specializes in online learning environment. And so we're gonna just have a conversation. Normally I give 5 tips, but today we're just gonna have a conversation about conquering our fear of the virtual learning environment. Hello, Miss Gloria Kitchen.
Hello, Kyrie Demby.
How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. Good. Would you want to just share with the people your expertise or just tell us something about yourself?
Well, I am from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, and I majored. My bachelor's degree is in music, and my graduate studies degree are in curriculum instruction and also instructional technology and distance education. So I have over 15 years of experience with higher education, in addition to early learning, as well as corporate development and professional development, instructional design, and human resources and compliance. So one of the things that I think is very essential is that, given that I am a creative person by nature, I learned an analytical skills. So that inclusive brings about the whole brain concept. So given that we may be one brain dominant in one particular hemisphere, given the fact that technology is an analytical skill, we need to embrace both of those components. And so given that we have a whole brain, we need to operate on a whole brain spectrum as well.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up about um, both components because I see as we go through this COVID-19 stuff, I
Mm-hmm,
feel like in the future, we are going to have to merge both together.
mm-hmm,
Regular classroom teaching is going to have to go with virtual teaching
mm-hmm.
because some people will be at home learning while others are in the classroom with you. And we're going to have to be able to merge that together. And I know that sounds scary for a lot of people.
Yes, it is. Because one of the things that I think is something that we should highlight is the fact that, given that we've had this global pandemic as it relates to COVID-19, it brought about a sense of, anxiety, in a sense, with as it relates to education in the educational world. However, it brought into existence the awareness of the inclusion of online learning, accountability, and ensuring that everyone they take action in this as well. Because while it is something that can be complex, however, I do believe that if you have a good foundational structure as it relates to organization and understanding what are key components that will assist you to be successful in an online environment, you will have no problem, and it releases that anxiety, because you are prepared for it.
Right. And so really you just led me right into go ahead, girl. You just led me right into what we're going to talk about today. Today's topic is planning for
Mhm,
because as teachers, we already know, how to plan for classroom work. We
mhm,
do worksheets and we're going to make the kids do this. We'll put the kids in groups and we already know how to plan for classroom. But when
mhm,
you're planning for online environment and the kids are at home watching TV while they're listening to you,
mhm,
you're going to have to do something to have things planned that can pull their attention to you. And so
mhm,
that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. Like
mhm,
maybe you could offer some advice or some resources
mhm,
on how teachers can start thinking about that. Like what with planning new activities and
mhm.
I know you just sent me a lesson yesterday. Gloria just sent me a lesson. She's good at writing curriculums and everything. So she sent me an online curriculum
Mhm,
for the affirmations, the best
mhm.
affirmations. And so it had the activities in it and how we would do them online. So, with you being able to do that, can you just offer the teachers that are watching or listening or
Mhm,
parents some
mhm.
advice on how to set up lessons? How do we prepare? for lessons?
One of the things, as I mentioned before, I am a musician. Okay, that's, we are creatives first. And so I know that so when I came into the online learning environment, I was very scared. I had a sense of anxiety, when I took my first web CT course, and that was like in 2007, 2008. And so one of the things that I would say before you write anything is to get a hold of your emotions, and know that you are confident in your particular area, your particular subject, your particular domain, and understand that this is a process. You're not going to get it overnight, and as educators, we tend to be perfectionists within our own right, so it's almost like, but we are able to say in the same right, I may not know something. So it's okay if you don't know everything about online learning, and understanding that you are the educator, you are the teacher, you are the professor, and taking a hold of that. That's first and foremost. So basically, like I mentioned before, relinquishing the anxiety. Then you can move into, okay, what are the resources that I need? One of the things that I enjoy teaching when I present at conferences and also have the opportunity to do one-on-one consultations, I talk about the ARCS model. The ARCS model is from John Keller. He is an individual who thought about, what are motivational factors as it relates to organizations to assist them to ensure that they are successful. Now, this has been extended out to online learning, AKA, instructional design. So what the ARCS model does, it breaks the acronym down to what is ARCS. So what is ARCS? So ARCS is attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction.
Say it again.
Attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. Now, this is a motivational design process. And this motivational design process, when we break down the word motivation, we look at the following. We looked at about activating, we look about inspire, cause, and optimistic change. Okay, so if I'm going to go down in to talk about deep dive, okay, into the fact of, lesson planning, I'm going to focus on relevance, okay? And relevance is the ability to retrieve materials that will satisfy the need of the user, whether it be online or the student and or the learner, okay? So when we look into that, we look at the components of what are you responsible? What is your responsibility as the instructor, the professor, and the teacher? What are you accountable for? So within the online environment, there are certain factors that we need to consider. We need to consider, what is your learning? What is your LMS? What is your learning management system? Okay. So your learning management system could be Blackboard, it can be Moodle, it could be Canvas, it can be Google Classrooms. And you need to take out the time to learn what are the resources, how do they function, and take the.
Can we stop there for 1 minute?
Yes.
Thank you, because that is what a lot of times we don't know the system, because we haven't used it. But the good thing about where I'm from, Jefferson County, we had already started using Google Classroom. So I was kind of familiar with it. And I wanted to talk about that. We only have a few minutes left, but I wanted to talk about that, getting familiar with whatever, how will it act on your, like I downloaded to my cell phone, my computer, my tablet, just so I'll know how it will act on these different things. Because some of the children, they don't have computers. They don't have laptops, or some of them are using Chromebooks. Some of my children are telling me that they're using their cell phone. And, so I think it's important to know the system, like you said, and to be able to, know how it works on all types of
all devices.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct. And to just bring it back into when you referred to about the, the lesson plan, because I know we have a time limit. The 4 key components of a lesson plan are, your objectives, your anticipatory, set, checking for understanding, and your lesson closure. So one of the things we want to do when we're considering writing our objectives for our online classes, understand that your students are meeting with you virtually.
Right.
So you have to be cognitive of the Bloom taxonomy that you're going to be utilizing. I'm not saying in the sense that, you can't say explore, but you have to be defined in saying, we are going to explore on the virtual platform. We're going to explore visiting viewing a YouTube. You need to be cognitive of how you structure your objectives in that sense. And then they also have a Bloom taxonomy as it relates to instructional design for online learning as well. So then when you look at your activities for the online lesson, you want to ensure that those activities are benchmarked to the fact of what you're going to be doing, because it's not, a lot of times people feel that it's a sense of blocking in, and there's no access. The access to online learning and just in general, the internet, it's so evasive, it's so inclusive. I mean, you can go to Africa and look at the national safaris. You can visit a museum in Manchester to review, to take a trip through the museum. So do not be limitless in the fact of assuring that your activities will be not that you confine to just one particular thing. You want to check for understanding to ensure that you're utilizing your pre and your post assessment, so you can do polling or games, or even conclude a wiki. And
That's
so
a good thing too. You told me about doing a poll, and
mm-hmm.
that online. What's the online tool that you can use for that? Was it? I can't remember, but we can talk about it later. Kahoot. There we go.
Yes,
So
gamification.
we'll put that down. We can put that down in the comment section for people who want to listen to it. Gloria, I just want to thank you for meeting with me today and sharing with us on Demby's teaching tips. That is our time.
Well, thank you, Kyrie Demby. I love you. And thank you for pushing me outside of my comfort zone.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I knew you could help us and share with us on this virtual, because when schools start, because they're even talking in Louisville, they're talking about starting school with half of the kids in the classroom and the other half being on Zoom.
Okay, now blended, but let me tell you something about that. There is something called flipped learning. And we can come back and talk about that as well, where you have the opportunity, like they will structure a portion that will be online, so that when the students come in to meet for the classroom, they're ready to go. So there's just certain things that you're not going to be having to re-emphasize on, because you have already given them this particular portion to learn, and when they come in, we're moving to the next phase. So we can talk about that when
Make a note about that. Make a note of that so we could talk about it next time, because I'm sure teachers are going to need to know what to do and how this stuff works. And maybe we could do a screencastify where you show us how to use Kahoot or one of those things like that. So thank you again, Gloria. Everybody else, thank you for watching. I hope this was very informative. I hope you all learned something. Please comment and share if you have some ideas or some questions that you want to talk about. Comment and share in the comment section. Thank you all for listening to Demby's Teaching Tips. Woo!